This technology is extraordinarily effective because it is programmed to emulate my work. Our Stanford Harvard biophysicist, he did an evaluation with buccal cells. So this is from that, and it was a 42% improvement in 24 hours with using the EESystem.
Good afternoon. My name is Denise Rogers, and I'm the branch manager and the co-owner of EES Austin. In the summer of 22, I heard about EES through one of my mind, body, and spirit students. I had been adjunct faculty at the University of Texas School of Medicine and published my work on the mind, body, and spirit program in the Journal of Holistic Medicine. My student knew that I'd been on the cutting edge of bridging science and spirituality. She also knew that because of my academic credentials and my knowledge of research, she asked me to investigate EES because she was interested in opening a center in Bastrop, Texas, which is a bedroom community to Austin.
I lost my PowerPoint.
She had been, having been an intuitive for 35 years, as I read, I was on the treadmill one day and I was reading this information that she had given me about EES. And initially I was just doing her a favor. And the more that I read about EES, the more I had kind of a fluttering sensation in my chest. And I thought, I think there's something to this. And so I gave it to my nerd boyfriend, who was a chemical engineer and an aerospace engineer. And I said, hey, I need you to do a deep dive on the science of this and tell me if this is even possible, what they're saying here. 2 weeks later, he came back and he said, well, it's not possible. It's probable. So he gave me the green light so that I could give Inga the green light to open up Bastrop, Texas. And then we got to thinking, well, why don't we become the first center in Austin? That would be cool. So the second urging came, just curious, how many of you have ever read the book Out on a Limb by Shirley MacLaine? Okay. So
we're old.
Right. We remember that.
Let's be real. We're old.
So a couple months after we opened in November of 23, I was attending a conference in Arkansas. And the teacher is who took Shirley MacLaine on this spiritual journey, as written about in the book. And the book was a little woo-woo, and it pretty much destroyed Shirley MacLaine's career for 10 years. This was in '84. But she came back with a vengeance by winning the Academy Award for Terms of Endearment. So in late 22, I'm in Arkansas being taught by a starseed astrologer, which was Shirley MacLaine's original teacher. So we all took turns and everybody had to introduce themselves. And I was talking about what I was doing at the med school. And I said, but I was investigating this new technology called scalar energy. And I talked a little bit about that. And she said, she interrupted me, which she hadn't interrupted anybody. And she said, is that Dr. Sandra Rose Michael? And I said, as a matter of fact, it is. And she said, oh, she's the real deal. And she said, you should do that. Well, I trusted her so much. So I knew, I went back to Austin and I knew.
I'm trying to keep the mic close.
Okay. So we're going to talk, we're going to be real chummy here.
I'm trying to keep the mic close to her.
So I immediately went back to Austin, started pulling together all the resources to open the first center. Turns out that she and Dr. Michael had been friends for over 30 years, and my teacher had actually introduced her at a conference in 1994, which was the conclave of Michael. And I'm not talking about Jordan.
No, that was in Banff, Canada. Banff,
Canada.
Yeah.
Doctor,
It was a big conference, too.
and it was 30 years ago. So she had been following, even though they kind of lost touch over the years, she had been following Dr. Sandra's work all of this time. So, and because I trusted her, it was like the last thing I needed to push me forward to open Austin. Dr. Sandra has taught holistic medicine for more than 4 decades. Her research in applied integrative biophysics has earned prestigious recognition, such as the Presidential and International Who's Who. She has lectured at the United Nations, MIT, the World Summit on Integrative Medicine, the Harvard Club, the Royal Society of Medicine, Mount Sinai Medical School, Scalar Research Experts Conference, and many anti-aging congresses, as well as many medical schools and worldwide ministries of health. Dr. Michael is also being featured in various national newspapers and journal articles, including a recent prominent study on autism and seizure disorder, which was published in the Journal of Neurology Research. The real, tried and true, Bioscalar EESystem has been publicized by media outlets, including but not limited to CNN, Fox News, The Doctors, Wall Street Journal, Beverly Hills Times. Knighted for her humanitarian service, Dr. Michael is a Dame Commander of the Order of St. John. So not only is she friends with Michael, but also St. John.
It's that sword.
The Order of St. John in the Orthodox Knights Hospitaller tradition, and is the Minister of Health for the Republic of New Lemuria, a country dedicated to peace and healing. She holds a hefty mission on Earth, and she packs a lot of wisdom in this little body of hers. So, keeping with the tradition, as one of my teachers did back in 1994, when she introduced her, it gives me great pleasure and honor to introduce the Grande Dame of EES, Dr. Sandra Rose Michael.
Now, how do I follow that? It was quite an introduction. I actually found the archive of Beverly Criswell introducing me at that big conclave. Yeah. And you got to hear it, right?
I got to hear it.
Yeah. So anyway, we're...
Wonderful lecture.
I brought it, I think. Okay. So after all that, everybody good with the sound? Everything okay?
Yes.
Yay. Okay. So because I am from who I am, on top of all that, I am recognized as a kahuna for almost 40 years. So as a kahuna, the most powerful word is aloha. So I like to start everything with everybody taking a long, deep breath, because if we have access to unlimited power, infinite intelligence, could we use some?
Yes.
Unconditional love, what's the problem, right? God's only a breath away ever. The word spirit comes from the Latin word spirare, which means to breathe. God breathed the breath of life into man. After that, it's up to us whether we're continually, constantly, consciously reconnecting with that source and power of all life and all light or not. So God's only a breath away, ever. So everybody take a real deep breath, breathing in all the power, all the light, all the love, and let a little more air in. Open up the heart. Expand all capacities for love. Let more in. There's always room for more love somewhere. Breathe it in. So the exhale can be a total relaxation. Aloha. That means oneness with the breath and the perfection of the love of all life, or I honor the sacred breath of eternal life. The energy and the power that interconnects all things and animates our hearts and then fills us with this overwhelming love that we share, that flows out infinitely to touch the hearts of all beings to feel more love. And aloha is really the scalar wave of love, infinite waves of love. Everybody see that infinity wave? That's the easiest way to understand the power of scalar and what that really means. It's an infinity wave, and it's this wave of love. And the deeper you breathe, the more you let go, the more you let go, the more all the power, all the light, all the love can flow. And you're breathing light through every cell and every part of your cells, letting every cell know and remember the power of the truth of the love of our being here now. So as you're breathing that light, you're being aligned by the light, with the light, as the light, highest powers of love here on earth as it is in heaven through us now. Aloha. Okay, relaxing into a new place of power, a new seat of power, so that you can allow that power to rise up from within you, that spinal column, that standing column of light, that spinal column, so that we can stand in our power, in our light, and in our love always, no matter what. Okay, so that is my most important message, and that is the core of what I'm going to be sharing with you, the EESystem. You know, I've been teaching holistic health all over the world more than 45 years. It is my life, it's my passion, it's my dedication. You know, I built my first scalar healing light chamber in 1978. I've been at it for a while. Like I said, I'm old. What can we say? But we have built a technology where I put those codes of Huna, the codes of instant healing as a kahuna into technology. Huna means the secret science of miracles. We created a technology to create miracles 24/7 all over the world. Is that okay with everybody? Yes. And it's pure science. It's pure spiritual science. And it's pure physics, biophysics, quantum physics, nuclear physics. People go, well, where's the real science? I mean, I deal with the professors of nuclear and quantum physics and the heads of science, you know, for the government and stuff like that. So we can talk the real science, but for me, it's all a spiritual mission. So I hope everybody can understand that. Because how our technology works is the cells vibrate and resonate with the power of truth. That sword that we mentioned, that sword of Michael, it's really that sword of truth for cutting through the bullshit that we're dealing with on this planet. And we need all of you to leave here with your, you know, cells vibrating and resonating with the power of truth so you can live your greatest life, your greatest love, total embodiment of your highest purpose, your highest mission, your highest mission. No excuses. Everybody up for this? Yeah. Thank you. My job, that's my job. It's my mission. It's my life. So thank you for letting me share with you. I'm going to, you know, of course, biohacking through quantum physics. Yeah, a little beyond med technology. This technology is extraordinarily effective because it was have to figure out how this one works, because it was programmed to emulate my work, and emulate, creating those miracle healings at the DNA level. At the DNA level, because it's about activating the light within us, the light at the very core of your DNA. My assignment was to create the technology to bring the DNA back to its original divine matrix, its original divine blueprint. So we will go through science too, and I don't know who's a timekeeper for me here, because I have no sense of time, because scalar is beyond relative time and space. Everybody know the definition of scalar? It's nonlinear, non-Hertzian, fifth dimensional, standing columnar waves beyond relative time and space. So it's a true 0 point energy, which even in the initial clinicals, they said everybody was experiencing time warps and things, because there's only now, really. Time is an illusion. Past, present, future is all really simultaneous to our DNA, which is our God code, because we are powerful, unlimited beings. And it's about total remembrance of who we are, all that we are, all that we're here for. Okay, so true bioscalar technology, we're creating it through a field engine system. Okay, we've custom built, designed through a lot of research, a lot of work, custom-built engines for generating fields that are extraordinarily bioactive, precisely aligned, very precisely aligned, because that's what's required for creating a pristine energetic environment. That null zone of detrimental and destructive fields, absolutely important. So multiple bioactive fields, including the grounding, the earthing, your Schumann resonance, because that is the timing pulse of the body, but that's also your ideal optimal brain states for staying connected to source. Okay? So the Schumann resonance and also the 13.8, there's a predominance of these things. Even measured, when I set up the first full system, we had the Tesla Society come in with all their meters and found that there was a predominance of Schumann resonance and rainforest energies, just hyper-healthy energy, and it was total nullification of detrimental destructive fields, including the radiation. Okay, radiation to me was very, very important, because my mother, and maybe some of you know this history, but my mother is a nuclear physicist. My parents met in engineering physics. They were both top secret spook scientists, okay? My mother was fissioning plutonium in the lab the whole time she was pregnant with me, working on the bomb, and she got me instead, and she was, mad Atlantean scientist stuck on mad. She was told if she douched on her wedding night, she wouldn't get pregnant. Oops. And somehow it was my fault. Go figure. But where did my dad, the aerospace, electrical, mechanical, structural engineer, doing stealth bombers. And I came in going, how do we heal all of this? That's what was my whole intention. But where did two top secret nerd scientists go for their honeymoon? Yeah, they met in Ohio State University, okay, in engineering physics. No, they went to Niagara Falls. Tesla's power plant, of course. Studying Tesla's work. I grew up learning all of and doing all of Tesla's experiments, but grew up knowing radiation literally from the inside out. I was so hypothyroid, it was ridiculous. So I came in to reverse all that. How do we heal it all? So I understand radiation from the inside out and that nullification. One of the key things, what we're dealing with on the planet right now is everybody is dealing with extreme radiation poisoning. So I created the technology to reverse that. My mother was doing fission, I did fusion. I rebelled. My dad was doing Mach 3. Anybody know what that is? Beyond the speed of sound? Pretty fast. Stealth bombers and all that. And I was doing all the experiments of that. Well, Scalar is beyond the speed of light. That's even faster. 1.4 times the speed of light. Okay, so, we took all that, bringing it forward, because my whole intention and mission from the day one was, how do we bring healing to this world? How do we heal the world? How do we create a new heaven and a new earth in the fulfillment of all the prayers, the promises, and the prophecies of all who've gone before us? We've waited a long time for this time. Get excited. Can everybody tell we're at tipping point, turning point? Shift has hit the fan on this planet. Deep shift. Okay. Accelerated evolution. That's another meaning for EE. EE stands for Energy Enhancement. It also stands for Accelerated Evolution. How do we create that quantum leap of consciousness on this planet for the Christed beings, to stand, and live that. Okay. I talked about nonlinear, non-Hertzian, fifth dimensional standing waves. Okay, where are we going next here? If I can get this thing to cooperate. This is a very cool picture of an installation in Kansas recently, 12 units. From the center of the floor, it looks like a mandala. It's beautiful. But anyway, benefits of bioscalar technology, of the EESystem. These are things we can talk about. Number one benefit is detoxification. This is hyper-healthy energy, gives the body the energy to heal itself. I started in chiropractic, reflexology, nutrition, Ayurveda, 1971. The power that made the body heals the body. What I developed is a technology. How do you plug the body back into that cosmic light socket? Universal, unlimited power on. Like you charge your cell phone. Let's charge every cell of your body, raising the millivoltage in the cells, activating your stem cells. It's a true stem cell therapy, all that kind of stuff. But detoxification is number one thing, because we are living in a toxic soup. They've tried to poison us every which way imaginable and unimaginable. We're living in a toxic soup. But the power of our life force energy is so strong. The body, when it has the right energy, wants to heal anything and everything, because that is our true nature. So when the body has more energy, the first thing it wants to do is clean house. So when it has more charge, when you're charged up, the first thing the body wants to do is discharge everything that does not align with your greatest light, your greatest life force energy, and your highest mission as a being on this planet. You wouldn't, so you can live your greatest life. You came in with your visions, your mission. Well, let's live it. You wouldn't have all those if you weren't here to do it. Let's get her done. What if you had all the energy you could possibly want or need to do anything and everything you could possibly want or need to do to fulfill all of your highest purposes in being here in the first place? We've waited a long time for this time on the planet. 26,000-year turning of the ages. And yeah, good shift is happening on this planet. The future is very, very bright. A new heaven, new earth through us. And our technology creates the ideal optimal environment we would have if we had heaven on earth right now. It's just a hyper-healthy, energetic environment that allows everything to heal and function more optimally. Okay, so the detoxification, antidepressant effects, because there's a release of active oxygen, opens up the brain, but it's synchronizing right in the brain hemispheres and promoting ideal optimal brain states. A lot of research on this, induced meditational states, research with John Orva, who was considered the top brain researcher on the planet at the time. He came from, he was the head of science for the Pentagon, John Orva. Is that high enough credential for science, maybe? Top brain researcher. Well, some of his research was you could go into a deeper meditational state than a Tibetan monk in 7 minutes. It's just supporting that ideal optimal brain balance and brain states and opening up the neural pathways. You know, synchronizing the brain, decalcifying the pineal gland, so you can get your own visions. Live that. Okay, so induced meditational states. Balancing a pH, that's your hydrogen potential, the power of hydrogen. Part of what this is doing, I've mentioned fusion, where there's a hydrobifurcation that goes on with the collision of photons and the photonic fusion, releasing the active hydrogen and active oxygen in the body. So you've got your ideal oxygen therapy, releasing active oxygen through the whole body. You know how important that is with Fritz Albert Pop's, Fritz Albert Pop's another thing, but with, the work of cancer cannot exist in an oxygenated system. Cancer can't exist in an alkaline system. So that release of the active hydrogen is very, very important because it's trying to balance the pH through the entire body. Active hydrogen is our ultimate antioxidant. And it's what powers the mitochondria. Now, some of the research done, this was a pilot study when I lectured at the Royal Society of Medicine, that active hydrogen effect can be, we saw with 9 people in 1 hour in an 8-unit EESystem, all 9 people had quadrupled mitochondrial activity. Quadrupled. That was 4 times the mitochondrial activity in 1 hour from just taking a 1-hour power nap, just sitting in an EESystem. Is that cool? It's the active hydrogen that fuels your mitochondria. And how important is that? Disease is considered, your arthritis and degenerative disease is considered mitochondrial dysfunction. Cancer is considered mitochondrial failure. Cancer can't exist in an alkaline system. We're like batteries. And this is working with your cellular batteries, so to speak. Okay, so that active hydrogen, the other thing that was found was that they found that was trying to repair all the breaks in the DNA and lengthening telomeres. That was research that was actually done at Baylor University. So enhanced neurotransfer velocity, balancing of blood sugar is another thing that helps do. But neurotransfer velocity, yes, your cells signaling, everything is sped up. Neurotransfer velocity, your reaction times, everything, the communication in the body is all accelerated. Hydration and oxygenation, that's, of course, a lot of dis-ease just simply comes from extreme dehydration, chronic acute dehydration in the body. So this restructures the water. Some of the research on water, 28% decrease in 28% decrease in the, so it makes the water more absorbable. That hydration level gets increased very easily. It's a 28% increase in the electrical conductivity, but it's a decrease in the tension. Okay. So because it's a total restructuring to align with the body and oxygenating everything. It's superconductive cellular communication, because one aspect of Scalar is superconductivity. So that's part of what increases that. Intentional resonance fields, because these are dense, intentional, informational resonant fields. Super learning states, so we've had major improvements in all kinds of brain function. Is there anybody here that doesn't want their brain to function a little bit better? You can't ever be too smart, feel too good, look too good, be too healthy, be too happy. Can't ever look too good. Okay, I mentioned John Orva. This was when he brought in a $100,000 specialized oscilloscope. He'd been brought to meet me because of some of the other science that's gone on that when we turned everything on, and maybe some of you heard it was a signature of a nuclear sub. And so we had gotten a little bit of attention at the Pentagon. Things like that. But anyway, so he He was a hypergenist, brought in to meet me, and there is a video that you can watch, which was pretty novel at the time. But he found he's explaining what he's seeing, what he's seeing with that oscilloscope, and you see how it's flatline. It should be doing a 60 cycle field and all that. Instead, it's a null zone effect, that 0 point energy. So that's that null zone that it's neutralizing and nullifying all incoherent, incompatible, destructive, detrimental field effects. And he found a total transmutation, as he's explaining it, of 60 cycle and other fields. With the collision of photons, you have the photonic fusion and producing new forms of beneficial energy, sweeping an entire spectrum. Because that's the way the body works. It's not this frequency, that frequency, the other frequencies. We are fully spectral in how the body operates. And he said, it looks like magic, but it's truly amazing physics at a very high level of application. Everybody else goes, can't you make it smaller? Can't you make it cheaper? And he's going, how in the world did you get this to do what it's doing? You know, on shoestrings, really. Anybody that really understands the science of this, he compared it to CERN or Fermi Labs and see what we were doing. But it's all about how do we heal, how do we bring healing to the world? And efficiently, effectively. We want things that work, that really work. So understanding scalar, it's longitudinal versus transverse waves. Okay, the longitudinal scalar waves, which are created by phase conjugate wave pairs. Okay, phase conjugate wave pairs. That's that intersection of the field where we talked about the fusion. At the intersection of the field, it creates an implosion and a release of charge. This is some of what's going on. That's your phase conjugate wave pairs. It's really sexy science if you're blonde. You know, I'm the one that does, MIT, they're looking at me, I'm the one that does the double blonde studies. So it's sexy science if you understand what's a conjugal relationship. Where two equals are coming together and there's an implosion, a release of charge. Anybody relate to that? Conjugal relationship. Do I have to say it? We will show you what it looks like, though. That release of charge. Yeah. Anyway, different from Hertzian. It looks like and scalar looks like an infinitely projected Mobius pattern. You know, 60 cycle would be what this looks like, your infinitely projected Mobius. I like this. This is from Professor Konstantin Mile, who is he's considered the professor, one of the authorities on scalar. He validated our technology, but I also lectured with him for the Scalar Research Experts Conference. This is from my book. That's one of my favorite books on DNA and cell resonance. And you can see from this how that might relate to the DNA, the interface with the DNA. And so I like that picture. And phase conjugate wave pairs, understanding Tesla waves. And, you know, I grew up doing you all grew up with your backyard doing Tesla coils and rockets and Geiger counters and gyroscopes, right? I had collections of Geiger counters and gyroscopes. Those were my favorite. But I was always doing coils and Tesla coils. We're levitating things, all that kind of stuff, doing all the top secret experiments. I thought everybody played like that on the farm. And healing all the animals, because I could hold my hands and watch. I see everything as that combination of engineering and physics. Electrical, structural, mechanical, engineering. Look at your body. And circuitry. And let's clear the circuit jams. You know, coherence is a very, very important principle in electrical engineering. That's that space where there is no impedance. Coherence, where everything flows freely, and that's what you want in the body. Okay. I hope this is making sense. Scalar vortex, infinitely projected Mobius. Now, we talked about the Mobius. That's your infinity wave. But an infinitely projected Mobius is what's created from that intersection of the fields. This infinitely projected Mobius is also then your torsion fields, toroidal energy. When I lectured it in Ukraine, I had head scientists from Russia. Our technology has been presented in Russia as well with Dr. Konstantin Karakov. Maybe some of you have heard of that. But they understand torsion fields and scalar. So they don't question that part. They just want to know how ours is different and how it works, you know. But they understand that. They gave me, great stuff when I lectured in Ukraine, because I had the head of Pfizer and stuff. That was very interesting. I lectured for the Ministry of Health there. So anyway, you see how that relates to the energy vortexes in your body. Chakras. I told you I studied Ayurveda, right? Chakras. But these are our energy centers. And these have all been validated now with science. I don't know why we didn't get this in kindergarten. Okay. Because, and I love Dr. Fritz Albert Popp's work. Prime function of DNA is a storage of photons. We are bodies and beings of light. How cool is that? Really? So what's a photon? That's your quantums of light. And he says that disease is caused by a loss of photons, and healing is really photo repair. And carcinogens scramble the light. Carcinogens scramble the light. I'll give you an example of radiation. Radiation unzips the DNA. A 0-point energy puts the DNA back to its original divine design, and that active hydrogen then can repair the covalent hydrogen bonds in the DNA. So it's putting everything back into coherence so it can function. So healing is photo repair and activation of that light within the DNA. Okay, collision of photons. Photonic collisions, when two photons or quantas of light collide with each other. Photon collisions can produce new particles, matter, antimatter vortexes. This is a true vortex. A lot of people have, John Orva himself said the field's measured like being at a powerful healing vortex. It was a similar energy to being at Lourdes. These are our natural healing energies, our natural energy vortexes. When two photons from opposite directions collide, you have your, magic happens actually. Positron pairs, with the collision of the photons, you have photonic fusion. Not just colliding photons like CERN or Fermilabs, but we're creating an actual cold fusion type nuclear fusion, because that is what actually occurs in the cells. I did work with another scientist. I don't know if he's in this PowerPoint, but maybe some of you have heard of Panos Pappas. Have I ever heard of Panos Pappas and the Papini machine? Anyway, he proved, he's a physicist from Greece. Our doctor here from Greece, Panos Pappas maybe. Dr. Nikos came from Greece. Maybe say hi to him. So Panos Pappas proved to the scientific community that what actually occurs in the cells is cold fusion. So this is what we're referring to, and I did some work with him. Is phenomenal. But he also is one that studied the process of cancer, how cancer cannot exist in a high energy system. Cancer doesn't exist in the body till the millivoltage of the cells is below 20. We're meant minus negative 20, because we're meant to be functioning at 70 to 90 millivoltage when healthy. So that was Panos Pappas's work. Okay. We'll talk about photonic collisions. Photons collide, they create these vortexes. Okay. Primary function of the DNA is that storage of photons. Okay. Photobiomodulation, everybody's talking more about that now with red light therapy. Well, we've got we've got photobiomodulation going because we've got, it's a, polychromatic therapy, where we're having the full spectrum. We're not just red light beings or blue light beings, or we're a full spectrum. We are rainbow bodies. Maybe some of you have read that book, The Rainbow Diet. We are the rainbow warriors, if you look at prophecies from the Hopi. So it's not any one color, that photobiomodulation. And it describes the therapeutic effects of light, photons being absorbed by the cells, leading to all kinds of benefits. And this is scientifically being studied more and more right now. Your blood circulation, reduced inflammation, enhanced repair. Okay, so this is your torsion field, tube torus, also showing that breath. It's called the breath of the universe, this torsion field. The tube torus. And it relates to part of what we did with the technology. We intentionally, very, very intentionally incorporated the golden mean, the Fibonacci sequences. And that's what we utilize very, very importantly for the cellular replication pattern. So that's part of what's activating and mobilizing the body's own stem cells. And you wouldn't see the results that we get if it wasn't mobilizing your own stem cells in the body, because that's what all healing really, really is. That's the foundation of it. So it's that golden mean, golden spiral. You see it all through nature. Maybe some of you have seen the movie Thrive or things like that. So understanding that is the big secret of the universe. But true bioscalar energy is field-like. We're generating fields, not wave-like per se. And it can implant its signature, and this is validated and proven in lots of ways, can regenerate and repair itself indefinitely. Everybody wants to know how long scalar lasts. Most things are third dimensional. You've got all your PEMF, which is incorporated in our technology. PEM, pulse electromagnetic field therapies, or different light. They're all third dimensional. This is fifth dimensional, but part of what scalar is, one aspect of that is can repair and regenerate in perpetuity, indefinitely. So that's continual regeneration, or regeneration is what I like to call it, because we're working with your genes, regeneration, and imprinting within the DNA. And like I said, we found that it may repair the DNA and lengthens telomeres. So that's part of the aspect. And it embeds, so that's the torsion field, that tube torus, that donut shape is why we use it for the medallions and how well the bracelets work. Is there somebody that doesn't have a medallion or bracelet or any other energy device on? You want to come up here? I'll show you quickly what the medallions are designed to do, or the bracelets. Okay. How much? Okay. Thank you, because I have no sense of time, in case you hadn't noticed. I thought I had an hour and a half for this talk. Okay, you're just going to hold your arm up, get a strength level here. Let's face everybody. Push up, get a strength level. And just feel how that is. There's a little Sharpie. Okay, just hold it. Push up. No, push up. I'm just going to pop a little bracelet on. Okay, push up. Feel the difference? The body relates to the energy. It's about how do you maintain the integrity of the DNA and the integrity of the red blood cells themselves. It's yours. We want everybody to stay strong no matter what you're exposed to. Be aligned by the light, with the light, as the light. As we activate that light within you, but you saw how fast the body responded to that? 1.4 times the speed of light. That's fast. Okay, fast. And so you saw how quickly the body understands, relates to that energy, and uses that energy. But it's reminding the body of its original divine design, what we're showing with that scalar vortex. So activating the light within your cells so that as we radiate light, Nothing that is not of that light can affect us. We just need to stay in coherent, our strength of our light. Okay. Dr. Jenny Xu is here. We talked about the telomere research. Dr. Jenny Xu presented her research on the on the bioregeneration effects. But this is her own personal research. She started at 53 years old and got a cube first and had improvements in her telomeres, reduction of age. What was it? 3-year reduction of age, according to the research.
Well, but we took 26 people.
Well, we'll get to that. Okay, this was her first initial, got a cube, and she was like 3 years younger or something. At age 53, though, after 3 months, she tested as being, at 53 and a half, tested as being 38 years old. Is that good?
Yes, yeah.
Please. That's good age reversal to go from that in 3 months to have that kind of effects. It looks pretty good, right? And recently married. Anyway, we will have a meeting tomorrow of EESystem owners. I'm looking forward to that, and Dr. Jenny will be there too. She did the epigenetic 6-month data, 50 hours in a 24-unit system. People were biologically younger. We'll just biologically numbered, and she presented this research study. You can watch it with SG Anand. The interview is very, very good, if you know that. But you can find that. You can talk to Jenny, put your hand up. Everybody can talk to you about that research. The lipid and changes, hormone improvements, testosterone. The testosterone one we hear about a lot, by the way. Yeah, men really notice the differences. But improved change in energy, health qualitatively, more balance, depression clearing. Human cell evaluation. Now, this is a study by Dr. Glenn Ryan, PhD. I don't know who put PhN on there. Anyway, our Stanford Harvard biophysicist, he did an evaluation with buccal cells. So this is from that. And it was a 42% improvement in 24 hours with using the EESystem. Bottom line, very cool stuff. Now this is, now Glenn Ryan's done a number of studies for us. You can find them on EESystem.com, but this is a recent one. Everybody knows crystals are beneficial, right? So he did a study with crystals and found a 2% improvement in the body's energy, 2% improvement with he was using rose quartz, I guess, here. And if you put anything in an EESystem, there is a level of charge that maintains. So putting anything in an EESystem, I tell everybody bring their supplements, their medications, their crystals, their water. You know, like I said, that 28% reduction of surface tension, things like that. And high statistical significance, just putting things in a system, was 20.4% change or improvement in the electrical conductivity. Okay, our old hypercharger system, which worked extremely well, we've sold hypercharged medallions for more than 20 years. All over the world, we get the miracles from people just using these medallions. Absolute crazy miracles. We love it. The old hypercharger, the percent of change was 37%, which is radical healing energy. Our new hypercharger, thanks to a lot of the updates and designs with Michael Scalar, who's here, who you can meet. The new hypercharger, the percent of change, the improvement is 51%. That's off the charts as far as healing energy the body can use and relate to. Really cool research. Like I say, he also did the studies on water. He also did the studies on the medallion. It was a 28% increase in the electrical conductivity of DNA itself in the lab, just with the medallion. So human biofield, everybody understands that's about a 6-foot radius. So this helps maintain the integrity of your biofields, your DNA, your red blood cells, your chakras. And this is what when phase conjugate wave pairs come together, release of charge, to me it looks like an orgasm. And every cell is meant to be in that high charge state of love, really. And we tested more than 1,000 products, and this was research done in $1 million Curlian lab with aerospace engineers. We tested more than 1,000 things. 6 months later, it's as great a charge or greater every time. Now, we've tested things 10 years, 20 years later as great a charge or greater every single time. We're meant to be at 70 to 90 millivolts. This is Panos Pappas I talked about. Which supplement do you think is going to bring more energy, more life force energy through your body? Okay, accugraph analysis. Accugraph is the, testing of meridians. This is before and after 1 hour. Red over here is too much energy, it's inflammation. And the body's in survival, so it's putting a lot of energy for the inflammation, and the violet is only enough energy enough to get by to the other systems. But before, you see, we talked about the millivoltage. This is testing the millivoltage of all the meridians, was 21 before. That's down near the cancer stuff, right? And after 1 hour, we're meant to be at 70 to 90. After 1 hour, in an 8-unit system, you see ideal optimal energy through all the chakras, through all the systems. And I think they're telling me, do I have any time left? 5 minutes?
1:55.
1:50.
We need to stop. We're supposed to stop at 1:50.
Okay, so that was an accugraph study. You can see the before and afters holding a charged product. I'm just going to flip through these. That's the release of a head trauma, release of that charge, improvements in the energy fields, aligning the chakras, reduction of inflammation, which is huge. It's doing it through the whole body. We had people with total paralysis, full function, bronchitis after 1 hour, no trace. This is what it does for red blood cells. Live blood cell, this is sickle cell, that's cleared. We love miracles. We love miracles. And we get radical, crazy miracles all the time. So I'm just going to flip through Dr. Nancy White's study, balancing brain hemispheres. Now, this is a new center in Liechtenstein, 108 units. And there's Mela, they're with Stefan, and they've done some research there, did recordings showing all of the EMF signals stayed green, even though monitors, lights, cameras, phones were all running. Normally for these readings, everything needed to be turned off, every room around them. In the scalar wave, everything stayed green. The EMF was totally, completely neutralized with 108 units running and everything else. Super exciting. He goes, they were just blown away in 108. So this is the EEGs. And yeah, pretty cool. Cool stuff happening. So, okay, obviously we have lots of material. Shift happens. Thank you all for being here. This is before and after.